Alright, how's it going everybody? This is Austin Andrews here with Norvise. Today I'm going to be tying one of my favorite Trout Spey flies. It's a super sweet little pattern. It's got a super lightweight body, makes it very easy to cast for long days, and then it's also got a fantastic profile in the water. Super simple tie too. So starting off with a Senyo's micro intruder shank here in the vise. And then my hook choice is going to be an OPST swing hook in a number 4. For the eyes, it's just going to be some small brass eyes in a silver. And then to connect the two, we're going to be using some small Senyo's intruder wire. For the body of the fly, using some dark olive craft fur. And then some wild type brown Hebert Minor hackle for the collar. For the dubbing underneath, going to be using some Arizona Diamond Dub in the red. And for our rubber legs, we have some Snake River Fly laser legs in the blood scale color. Also, super helpful thing with this fly is going to be using some Semperfli Nano Silk. Super sweet thread because you can actually split it and create a dubbing loop on your thread. So actually let's get started. Let's get right into tying. Start our thread here right at that eye. Just work it down. Make sure I'm using my right scissors. I have a pair set aside for wires. There we go. Cut our tag end off and get right to the back of the fly. Now I'm going to grab that Senyo's intruder wire. We're going to run that through the hook. So here, I'll do this without trying not to block the light. So you're going to go down through the eye, up over the bend, over the shank, then back out the eye. Then just take that, cinch that down. That's what's going to create our good connection point. And then I'll take my bad scissors, use those to trim off that wire. Whoops. So now we have that hook set on that wire. Going to take that and tie that on. Now, I want that hook to be approximately like 1 shank length away. Oops, sorry, there's that focus went out. Here, let me see. There we go. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. So I want that to just be 1 shank length away. I'm going to wrap that forward. And then I'll fold those wire ends back and just wrap over a small part of it again. Trim off the excess. And then I'll just take a bit of Loctite super glue just to make sure that stays locked down and doesn't go anywhere. Alright, perfect. Come to the back of the fly. We're going to take some of this Arizona Diamond Dub. And this is a fun little technique because it creates like a perfect little hot spot at the back of the fly. So we're just going to take some of that, we're going to stack it, and then take our bodkin. Going to come in here, kind of flatten that thread out on your fingernail. We're going to split that thread in half. And then I can take that dubbing that we stacked and put it in between our 2 strands of thread. And then just spin it up. Perfect. Pick that out with our bodkin. Also use a brush or comb, anything like that. Pick that up, and essentially what we've done is we have created a dubbing loop, but we've maintained that all on our actual thread. So we're just going to wrap that and do super tight touching wraps just at the back of the fly here. Now we don't really want to advance this too forward onto the shank. And then as we palmer that forward, we're actually just going to take it back, brush it back, and wrap over the last little bit of it. Let's again take our bodkin and just pull any trapped fibers out. Then we will, once this body is done, we'll actually come in here and trim out any long, unnecessary, unruly fibers. So, next up, I'm going to take a piece of this Hebrew Minor hackle. And for this piece, preferably, we're looking for a long feather. Not necessarily long fibers, but a long feather, because we're going to have to walk this up the body a ways. So, pull those fibers back. Trim that tip up. And then tie that tip in. Okay, before I get too much further on, I'm going to put my brass eyes on the fly. Just take those and figure eight those onto the bottom of the shank. Tighten that up. And then once again, I'm going to hit this with a bit of super glue. Just to make, that just helps with it, with the actual rotation of it. Because these things do have a tendency to want to rotate around the shank. So that's going to help prevent it a bit. It doesn't fix the problem, but it does help. Okay. Back to our Arizona Diamond Dub. Take more of that. Bring this thread back. And we're just going to walk up the shank using this Arizona Diamond Dub. Okay, it's probably about where we want to stop. Maybe a few more wraps. There we go. Take this hackle, just going to walk it forward, get probably around 4 wraps in there. Yep, that looks perfect. Tie that off. trim that excess. Sweet. Okay, now it's just going to be right onto our craft fur. So for this craft fur, you really don't need a lot. Like I said, it's a pretty sparse, lightweight fly, and it does not need a lot of craft fur to get that good body. You know, we kind of have that hackle that's going to push that out and kind of prevent a super thin, skinny body on this fly. Trim off some of this craft fur here. Okay. I have a decent chunk of craft fur right here. And what I'm gonna do, so there's really 3 lengths of craft fur within one piece. So you're gonna have your under fur, which is these very, very short fibers. We're just gonna get rid of those. They are, they're unnecessary for this fly. So get rid of all of those. Pick through it. That's just going to add unnecessary and unwanted bulk for this pattern. Okay. And then you're also going to have some super long fibers. So that's going to be the fibers. Let me see if I can get focus on that craft fur. Perfect. It's going to be these long fibers right there. So we can also get rid of those. We don't need those. We just want like this kind of mid-length sweet spot fiber. So let's take this. Just going to kind of spread it out in my hand, making sure all those fibers do stay pretty well aligned. And then we're going to do that same exact technique that we did earlier, the splitting of the thread, except this time we're going to use craft fur instead of dubbing. So again, just kind of spread out that craft fur. Get it in between those thread fibers. And then for this, I'm just going to kind of go through, pull out any unnecessary long strands. And to measure it, I do want to go to just, the longest fibers to go just past the shank of the hook. So I'm going to put it right about there. And then we'll actually take our scissors and clean up those ends. Perfect. Oh, fell out. No worries, we can redo that. There we go. Perfect. Take that bodkin again, run up alongside the thread, and pull it out. It's going to help get rid of a lot of those trapped fibers. We have a nice little dubbing brush that we can now palmer forward on this fly. Okay. Wrap over top of that a bit. Pull out any trapped fibers. Throw out that fly. Perfect. Okay, now let's tie in some of our rubber legs. Just going to do 2 on each side. Don't be too concerned about the length right now. We'll trim those up. Okay, perfect. Broke those off. Oh well. Retie fresh set on. Perfect. Okay. A few more X wraps. Now, we can go back to our Hebert minor here. And so for this one, I'm actually going to be looking for a bit thicker, wider of a feather that's got some longer fibers here, because this is what we're going to use for that collar. So it's got some thicker, wider fibers on it, and it should work great. Same thing, cut the tip off, trim those fibers, and tie that in. Take that. You really don't need many wraps of this, you know, we're talking 2 to 3 wraps, just enough to kind of give it a collar. Okay, perfect. Catch that end. Go. Trim off that excess. And just make sure all those fibers are laying flat and clean. A few more X wraps. Try to clean up that head. There's a few fibers right there. Need to go. Okay. Whip finish. Sweet. Cut our thread off, hit it with one last drop of super glue. And that is just about all she wrote. I'm going to come in here, trim up those rubber legs to about the end of the hook. There there you have it. Super sweet trout spey fly. Like I said, very lightweight to cast, and has a fantastic profile in the water. It's definitely been a top producer for me this year, and I'll tie it in, a variety of different colors. I'll do it in black. Another personal favorite is a white and tan color. So super versatile fly, and I think everyone should give it a shot. So once again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me a message, shoot Norvise a message. Either of us would be very happy to help with any questions. And I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.